Hello, this is Priscilla Batzell. I'm in Spring Hill, Florida at Expressionist Fluid Art Studio, gallery, a few cat hairs. 12 by 24 inch canvas, dry now, created with mead and black paint. And I want to create a scape, and my stage one is going to be to lighten up my night sky. So I'm going to start with some Frostbite and add some other colors like Black Iris. Both of these are Prizm pours. I feel like I could just leave those lines right in there. It's a pretty cool looking sky just like it is. I thought about not adding any interference gold, but I think I am going to do so. And I was going to change up the order and add some Moody Lilac in a second. This is open now. Wait, maybe it's... yeah, I got it open without the top off. That's interference gold. Just to add a little something, something different. And I said I was going to go for the Moody Lilac, and that I will. And I have a little Midnight Shadow just for some darkness. Who knows what it's going to look like when it's dry. This is a good experiment. I'm trying to force my lines to be in a pleasant pattern, because a lot of times the patterns that you start with you get left behind with. I've got a choice. I've got Titan Light Blue, or I've got Peruvian Opal. I think I'm going for the Peruvian Opal. Those are great colors. Who knows what they're going to look like once I smooth them out. I'm going to pick up from my corner and put down whatever I've got on the edge of my sky canvas area. Bring back my residuals. That is pretty much what I had in mind. That worked out really well, I think. And there is enough paint. I think to do the other side just like I wanted to do this side. Which is what I'm doing, which is probably out of your range. And I'm going to use whatever came up over the edge. I wanted to go in the opposite direction to see what it would do to the pattern that I had down there. I like the pattern I had down there a lot, so saving it is okay with me. Now after this, I'm going to mix up some colors in a transfer pan, hopefully, and use them after I swipe them to create some layers in the bottom half of this canvas, and I hope they blend well, because I haven't done exactly this before. I did a variety of it, trying it on a much smaller canvas, and I like how it turned out. I've got a little black showing over here that I'd like to remove. That looks like a blustery night. Or maybe that's moonlight caught in the clouds, who knows. Right now I'm just tapping my spatula across the top edge, which is the bottom edge at the moment. And then I'm going to tell you I'll be back in a second. Although I see that one. Wow, it just won't stick. Anyway, it'll look pretty similar. Although I seem to have some naked spot over here that I want to get rid of. Alright, I've got one thing I need to pull out with tweezers, but other than that I'll be back in a second. Okay, I was gone for a second, but I added a line of Frostbite, and now I want to add some Periwinkle for contrast, or just a color change in general. And I will use my spatula, hopefully. Take any extra and put it on the edge. Try and blend it up into everything else so it's not exactly a straight line. And it might be interesting to see how set up that other paint is. Or it might not. I really shouldn't mind when the black shows through, because it is a night sky after all. I do mind that thing there. Where'd my tweezers go? I think the periwinkle looks like clouds on the horizon, which I like a lot. And it interrupts that hard line that I had made, that I'm happy to see go. And there are clouds in night skies, so it makes perfect sense to me. And I think the periwinkle was the perfect color. And if you can tell, I'm taking any residuals that I get off, putting them back down in the bottom, just to break up anything that might be construed as a hard line. I gotta be really careful. The sticky paint will come right off on my spatula. But I like the way it looks so much, I'm willing to take the risk. Alright, I like that better. I still have to mix up my paint, so I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so this is wood. I've put a acetate liner in the bottom of it. This is my Amsterdam white with Floetrol and GAC 800 in it. Thinking I might want to go. No, I think I need to go this way. Anyway, so I'm going to put paint that I hope to transfer off of a puddle of this, that if I have the right amount of paint I'll be able to move around and spread out the cells. Here's me knocking on wood. And I need to grab some of the paint bottles that are in my way. This is Black Iris. I think I was going to do something else. I think I've got Warm Caramel, which is a Prizm pour. Whoops. That might be interesting. I added a little bit of vivid polyacrylic to make it go a little further. This is Aztec Bronze, a Vivid Intense, that I'm going to put over that just to make sure I don't mess up. I've got Emperor's Gold, Indian Spice, you might use a little Mayan gold too. I hope this works. I'd really like it to. I wanted some Payne's Gray, but I think I'm going to use the True Silver. And I want some white, so I'm going to throw some Chantilly lace on top of something, I guess. Or what have I got? I've got French silk. Maybe a little bit more Black Iris. I don't know how this is going to work. Alright, I've got my large spatula, and I've got my Amsterdam Black Cell Activator, and silver and gold. And so if I put the silver, it needs to be at the bottom. And I might want some white also. I might want a little bit of everything, to tell you the truth. There's the silver, because I can. The gold is Atelier Rich Gold and Pabio Iridescent Gold. The white is Amsterdam White. I squished the spatula down at the end. I think I'm going to scrape off anything. That worked out pretty well. I could have probably just done that on the painting and it would have been fine. But I wanted to do this. So I'm going to throw those in the bucket. Move my cell activators out of the way. Grab a playing card and or a spatula. I guess I'm going to have to bring the painting back, and this is going to have to be probably out of your way. So it's over to the side. Here comes the painting. Make sure there's nothing there. Now maybe I can lift it up and bring it back. I'm going to have to go this way carefully. I kind of want to use the stuff at the end first, because I can. Because I'm not sure it'll get used otherwise. Oh, it is tipping. It's tipping quite nicely, actually. Now, I intended on going from the side, like in just one area at a time. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility that once I get all these in place, I might want to tip them. and I'm not holding it as level as I would like to. I've got some patterns. I'm going to have to put this down and tip it just to see what happens. I might tip it toward the sky. That seems like a good place to start to me. I want some of that silver and black. It's beautiful. Alright, I'm going to put this down. I love my pan of colors. I need a skewer. I think I'm going to put a color at the horizon line. I don't want this to be as even as it looks right now. I'm not sure why it's not tipping. It seems like it should be heavy enough to go. Well, I've got drips, so that's an interesting, but I do have also got Q-tips. Let's grab one that's, that one's used. Used is not going to work in this case. Make sure you moisten it before you try and take paint off a dry canvas. I just put a little fingernail in my sky, a little tiny gouge. I'll always put a tree there or something. Kind of want gold along the horizon line. I thought I wanted white, but I really like how the gray and the black and the cells look like. I mean, look at that dish. That's a gorgeous dish. Holding it up is kind of interesting. I think I want to use the longer side of a card. So I'm going to grab something else that's already cut. I'm going to turn this around too so I can get it the side I really want to. I'm not sure that was my best choice. It seems to have a curve in it. I need to try and do that, which was spreading it out some. I like how that looks. Normally, if I were scooping with a shovel, I'd be talking about wiping off the bottom of my shovel, but it's a different horse of a different color. And I am trying to make my lines not straight and not uniform. I want to go along the horizon line so bad. I'm going to do it. I picked up those bronzes, are beautiful. I'm not sure the white is serving my purposes. Maybe I should have done it on black with some white in the paint mix. I thought I'd do a dark horizon, but I kind of like this. Trying not to drip in my sky. And it is still fresh and wet. I'll be interested to see how much white actually stays. If I had enough paint in the line here, I could tip it up into the sky, which might be really cool. I don't know if that's possible though. Doing this for the first time. Kind of want to yeah, it's going to move. I could even blow it up with a straw. Yeah, it's making mountains. Making cool mountains too. I'm not sure whether the black is going to stay or go, but it's pretty close to what I had in mind. Now it's up to me to decide. You can see how big the cells are now, and they're beautiful, but I've got the option to use some more black cell activator. And so I think what I'm going to have to do, without you seeing me do it, is grab one of my acetate tools, put some cell activator on it, and drag it through my pan of colors, and it worked. I'm going to get rid of that right in the bucket. I don't need that extra paint. So this is what I did right here. And I think I'm going to take that. Come on, pick up. And I might be willing to tip the bottom till it fills up. I mean, there's always tomorrow. Once it's dry, I could always fill in the black in between. And as long as I have enough paint and some interesting patterns, I'm pretty sure I can make this go all the way to the bottom. I'll definitely do more black next time I try this. I got that cat hair off my palette. Oh, I missed a spot. Oopsie. Let's grab some more. Now I just want to pull it down. At least it's a wider band across the bottom. I'm just going to go for it. Actually, I'm going to tip it up as well as down. And if it happens to meet the stripe above it, that's okay with me too. I'm going to help that down a little. Let it go up some more. Let it come down some more. Once I get it from end to end, I'm probably going to tip down again one more time. Now I could always fill in at the bottom, not a problem. Don't ask me what I'm doing. I'm just inspired to do something. It might even be the wrong thing. But it's just paint. And I figure I got a shot at fixing it if I need to. And I kind of want to see what they look like when the rows are running together. I'm going to do a little more black on another acetate card. Looks like we got snowy mountains up at the top. Alright. I got a few more cells. Kind of want to put that back where it belongs. trying to use the negative space as a design element is interesting, at least the first time you try it. And this is the first time, but I'm still hopeful. Let's see what that looks like. I think I'm just going to keep taking my colors, putting them down in places. It's a good thing I use GAC 800 by Golden. I don't think I need as much black as I thought I did. And I'm not looking for uniformity. And I would think twice about the white. I might even do the background in maybe a bronze. Beforehand. That's looking pretty cool. It's sort of kind of what I had in mind, but I wasn't sure what I was going to get, so. There might be a moon goes in this sky. I've got a couple of minutes left. Seem to have picked pretty close to the right amount of paint, which I cannot tell you exactly what it is. Looks like some kind of tundra. Well, maybe that's the wrong word. Someplace cold. And you could definitely layer. I probably got lucky with the amount of white I used. It was probably more than I needed. And going back and adding more black cell activator didn't hurt anything. I can't do a moon now. I can take this paint that I've got and finish the edge and the sides. Don't know if I want to do that now while you're here, because you don't need to see that. There's no way I can show it to you. I've got just enough paint left to do it. So that's kind of cool. Seems to me I have done something that reminds me of this before. Come on, straighten out. So I'll leave it and come back and do something else. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so this is the next morning, and briefly I have a silicone lid and some choices that I can use as a circle for my moon. And that one's still got some residue in it, but it's not going to hurt anything. And that's the jar from a Colourarte Primary Element. The rest just have nice clean circles. I also thought this lid would be nice because I could dip it in and have a handle to pull it out again, but I don't think it matters. So I'm going to try and create a decent circle . By just putting a few drops down so I don't get an excess, I hope. And I might want to try it on something else first. Yeah, I'm just going to use the lightest residual possible. And this is where I wanted my moon. And I'm just going to smear that in with my fingers. Cautiously. Because I have found that if I leave the blue background, I get a green cast, or a blue cast even, depending on whether my celestial body is yellow or white. So I will just use the paint that's left over in my container. And this is going to be basically like priming a spot for the moon, because I'm going to use some French silk or Chantilly lace, whatever I want when I finally get here. And anything that's outside my comfort zone as far as that circle goes, I'll just grab a little Q-tip. But I'd like it to be able to be dry when I put my final coat on. And I don't think it matters if there are any patterns in the moon, especially since the moon has patterns of craters already. So I'm just going to take the smallest amount of paint and try and make no pattern at all, or a more random pattern, and call it good for now, and I'll be back in a minute. See you soon. Hi, I'm back, and right over there is the pan I have my mark making tools in that I'll use in a minute. I'm going to use the end of my tweezers, some broken pieces of tongue depressor, part of a Dove bar, wooden bar that I cut off and sanded down so it was flat, and I checked to see if the marks would work, and then I dipped this paint can opener and it made nice little short hash marks, so I'm going to use those things. But first I'm going to show you that in here and here and here and here are all my digitally created trees, and obviously the moon, which I did before I did the moon. So I'm going to use a little French silk. Blow away any cat hairs. I'm just going to use my finger. And I've still got my Q-tips standing by, which it's a very attractive idea to just go outside the line. Now as it dries, you could go back in and cautiously make craters. And if you don't like them, like I don't like them right now, they'll flatten out a little bit anyway. You can blow them down and you make a kind of a realistic moon. So now I've got my sketch over there. I'm going to take my tools off my plate, with the exception of the first one I'm going to start with. And I'm going to grab peacock, more peacock, which is a Prizm pour, some deep amethyst. I don't want that paint chip in the middle. Looks like I got it anyway. A little Prussian violet, deep amethyst, Prizm pour. Prussian violet, I'm not sure about. I think it might be a primary element. It's a very cobalt, reminds me of cobalt blue a lot. Then I have a Vivid Intense Chromium Green, which I don't know if I'm going to use or not. And I'm still tempted by bringing in some Royal Sapphire, even though the peacock is pretty darn good. And for the highlight so far, at least, I'm going to use some of my Fandango. This is all for the trees. And I think I have a chopstick around here somewhere, hopefully handy. Yes, I do. And that'll be coming in handy along with a paintball skewer. Maybe not a paintball skewer too. We'll see what happens. I usually wind up scraping through the trees a little bit. So I've got to start somewhere. I'm not sure my paper will stand up there. I've got some tape against the back wall if it doesn't. Give me a second. There's my tape. Just to remind myself where I want my trees. And if I get quiet, then you should expect that the chances are good that I'm just going to fast forward through this. But this is the peacock. And I am being somewhat irreverent, just shuffling that paint around. I don't really want it to dry, but I don't think I have much choice. I'm going to try some other colors in there. I kind of looked at this when I last night. It looks like that purple area could be, mist rising off water, which is kind of an interesting thought. So we mostly given the impression of trees and not worrying too much about it, because I don't necessarily have all the time that I'd like to make these look as nice as I want them to. And I think I have to start in one section at a time whether I like it or not. And I'm really being tempted by the chopstick right now. But I'm not doing too badly with what I've got to start with. I just don't have any patience right now. I've got smaller pieces of tongue depressor, and I think as long as they fell someplace I can use them, I'm going to make this go over to just here. I'm going to fill in. I can always go back and add more definition. So right now, to facilitate time and not leave any marks to dry that I don't want in there, I'm just going to fill in. I've got one more tree in the middle there. I like the purple for a shadow. I'm going to show you what the chopstick will do, even though I probably am not ready. And it's just going to add some texture. Which could be construed as highlights, I guess. I'm going to try some of the Fandango. Actually, I think I needed that less where I put it, more on the side with the moonlight. So be conscious of where the moonlight might be shining. Here's a little chromium green. A little more Fandango. probably throw a little more purple in there. And if I get too much Fandango, I'll just go back and add some more chromium green, which I like. Looks good in that combination. Just sort of back and forth where branches would assumably be. Right over the initial shape. And the branches, depending on the tree, they curve up as well as potentially down. And they get more realistic as you add more stuff, more bits. And of course, if you know where the shadows lie, that'll help bring realism to everything too. Kind of happy that I used the Prussian violet as well. Even though it's very intense. And you can just waggle your skewer back and forth. I actually like those. And if you muff up your fingerprints, then just put some more paint on your skewer or your chopstick and pull up. And I've got those trees going all the way up, and I didn't notice that. So I'm going to put some paint in the area I want it to be in, and then pull down through and push up through. Grab some chromium green, do the same thing. Just the impression of trees. We're not trying to be photorealistic or anything. I do kind of want to bring that shadow down a little bit more. The purple is the shadow. Alright, it's time to put the rest of them in, especially the ones in the middle. Those are the ones that are going to freak me out the most, I think. So that's just... And then I just feel like fast forwarding. So I'm dipping my little Dove Bar tool into all the colors. So I get a mix. Now remember, you've got a Q-tip, or you should have a Q-tip. And the purple goes on the side away from the moon. Which might seem obvious to some people, but not to everyone, I'm sure. And in lieu of a Q-tip, you've always got your finger. So I'm just going to use the corner. As long as the paint is heavy and it's not going to dry, it shouldn't be a problem. Because you can always go back in and go over. I had another tree. I think I had that go down a lot further than it is. So I'm thinking it goes right down to here, but I'm not sure I want to do that anymore. I'm going to bring it down anyway. because I want something to look like it's more in the foreground. I'm not sure I gave myself enough paint. Or purple for a shadow. And then just use some of it to move up and mix around. And then I'm going to do what I did before. Just sort of scrape through the tree so it looks like there's something showing up from behind, so it gives the illusion of depth. Oops, that was purple. That doesn't belong. I'll just put a little green over that. Alright, I don't actually feel like making you wait for the rest, so I'm going to just be quiet and get on with it until the timer goes off, and whenever that is, I'll finish or I won't. Just using the bright stuff as the highlight. Well, in that case, a little more than I should. But I can always put a shadow in, which I kind of wanted to do anyway. So I'm not sure what I've told you and what I haven't told you, but the link tree under the video will share a 20% off Colourarte coupon code with you, and I'm a Colourarte affiliate. And these are Colourarte colors I probably mentioned. And I'm enjoying myself immensely. Thank you for joining me. I post at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Most weekdays. And I think I've picked the right amount of paint for my trees. And I think I have them everywhere I need them, with the possible exception of I wanted to fix this over here. So what have I not told you? I need to check. Please give me a thumbs up when you share my videos. You help me out. When you watch them longer, you're the biggest help of all, because that's what the YouTube algorithm responds to. I really appreciate the donations you guys have offered through PayPal, Patreon, and the members are keeping my channel alive. So thank you, members. If you'd like to become a member, it's $9.99 a month, and you help me purchase canvases so I can continue to bring you tutorial videos. Now, I never did use my tweezers. It doesn't mean I couldn't. In the meantime, let me check and see. My email address is easpb in the word gallery spelled out at gmail.com. I'm not sure what the shimmer quotient of this is because it was on the white, but we'll give it a shot anyway. I'll probably refine my trees just ever so... Really? I'll probably refine my trees a little bit, make them look exactly like I want them to. And possibly by dabbing my finger in them also. And scraping through. It's an easy assumption. It looks pretty close to what I had in mind, and I'm pretty happy with that. I may check, I may put some more paint around the edge of that when it dries and add a third layer. Let me grab and open my flashlight on my phone. Let's see if we can show you anything shimmery. Anyway, it does look like moonlight. The sky is absolutely gorgeous. The trees are pretty close to where I want them. I have to say that I could have used Midnight Shadow instead of the purple, but I still can actually, because it's another good shadow color. There's a few little marks I'd like to add over here, and otherwise we're pretty well done. Thank you for your kind words and your comments to keep my morale boosted. Check my community board for showing you tomorrow's video. It doesn't usually happen till late night the night before. Questions are welcome and encouraged. I do sell my artwork. Please inquire at my email address, easpb, and the word gallery spelled out, @gmail.com. Also, you can use that same email address to contact me with questions about taking a lesson at the house in Spring Hill, Florida. My paint pouring recipes below show more, and my Amazon link will offer you my 2 books on paint pouring. The first and the second 100 videos I made for YouTube the books are called Volumes 1, Because I Can, and Volumes 2, Unlimited Possibilities. I love you guys. You inspire me always. I hope you come again. I'm going to say goodbye for now. I love you all. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. Priscilla out.